Hi, I'm Jaimee. I'm an instructional designer in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am probably one of those people that should have done a little more soul searching before going to school. I was good at math and science, so I decided to go into science. So I ended up going for a Ph.D. in free radical and radiation biology, which is a difficult way to say cancer biology. So when I graduated, I ended up going to the state crime lab in Wisconsin and working as a DNA analyst. And the first 9 months, I loved it. It was all new knowledge. It was using new skills every day. And that was really wonderful. And I felt really passionate about it. And then once I learned how to do DNA analysis, it took about a year until I felt really confident in that, and then I started to become really bored. It was kind of the same thing every day. It was very monotonous, and that's when I started training law enforcement and new employees and the interns. We would have interns over the summer. So I started to do training as something else to do, and I just became more excited about that than I was about doing DNA analysis. So I went into teaching in higher education, and when I was there, I worked at a few different institutions, and I ran into the same issues with all of them, in that I loved my job, I loved creating, I loved helping people figure out really complex topics. I did not love the lack of work-life balance. I was working so many hours. I have a family, young children, and I couldn't maintain it. So I felt like I needed a change. And that's when I started looking around and I came upon instructional design. Coming from a background with a lot of education, I felt like I needed some sort of degree in instructional design. And I actually started looking into master's programs in instructional design, thinking that that would be what I really needed. But then I talked to an old colleague of mine, and she said, "Stop, you don't need a degree. You have been working in the field basically of instructional design for years, and you have enough experience that you just need to figure out where your gaps are and fill those specific gaps." So I started trying to fill those gaps by myself, and I felt like I was definitely gaining knowledge, but I didn't feel like I was kind of picking and choosing from a lot of different areas, and I just felt very overwhelmed after a couple months of doing that and trying to learn everything by myself. So I felt like I needed something that would direct me to learning the skills that I definitely needed, and also helping me grow as an instructional designer and become more confident. So when I decided that I wanted to join an academy or a boot camp, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't joining one that was simply going to make me produce a beautiful portfolio, but not the confidence and the actual skills to help me succeed in a career. So that was extremely important to me. I wanted to come out of it feeling like I am an instructional designer and I can take my skills into any space or any position and really bring a lot of value. The things that really appealed to me about the eLearning Designers Academy were that it was self-paced, which was extremely important to me. I have a family, so I didn't have time every day to dedicate to it, but I definitely was able to set aside chunks of time. But I also liked that there was still a schedule. There was a lesson plan, which kept me on track. I also felt like I just felt like this good vibe from the community and from Tim. I wasn't looking for someone who was there simply to make money and teach people and then move on to the next money opportunity. And it didn't ever feel like that to me. And I was so appreciative of that. And then it continued even after I did one-on-ones during the cohort that I was in during that 8 weeks, but then afterwards, I actually got an interview pretty much right away after I started applying for jobs. I'd only been applying for about a week and I got called for an interview. So I reached out to Tim immediately because I was so excited, and I had talked to him about how I was nervous to start applying because I wanted to make sure I was fully prepared before going into it. And he encouraged me to apply. So when I got that interview, I reached out to him right away, and he was so generous with his time, offering to have a one-on-one with me about interview tips and possible questions, just really prepping me for the interviews. I had a one-on-one interview and a panel interview, and he talked to me about both of those. I also had a design project, and he critiqued my design project and gave me really wonderful feedback that made me feel extremely confident going into those interviews and talking about my design. Even though all of the ideas were mine, Tim really helped me in refining some of the things that as a beginning instructional designer, I didn't know to look for. I think a lot of people are worried about investing money in like an academy. I definitely was. I definitely felt like I don't want to put my money in the wrong place, because if I would invest in the wrong place, I think I'd be too scared to try to find the right place, and then I'd just be back to where I started. So I feel like if someone is wondering if that money to be in the academy is worth it, I would say that I don't think I would have gotten the salary offer that I got without doing the academy. I can actually say like 99% sure that I would not have, because I know that a big part of my offer was based on my demo project, and I would never have been able to make that if I hadn't done that program. There's no way. I would have been too nervous to make something that was creative and unique and something that they hadn't seen before. So I think it paid for itself when I got my job. You are definitely getting your money's worth and so much more. So much more than what I even thought would come out of it. I came out really knowing storyline and feeling extremely confident to take those skills into a position. I also came out feeling really confident in myself, and that I knew how to decide if training was what was needed, how to build a storyboard that was effective. So I would definitely recommend it for anyone that is feeling like they're passionate, but they just don't know how to get started or what to do in order to feel that confidence that sometimes comes from switching careers. I definitely felt it when I was switching careers. I felt like I don't belong here. People are going to think I'm a fraud, and they're going to think I have no idea what I'm doing. And that all went out the window around probably week 4 or 5 of the academy. I started feeling way more confident, and part of that came from Tim's guidance and really making me feel like he definitely gave me feedback when something was not working or looked kind of strange. But then he really was like a cheerleader for me when I really needed it, when I was doubting myself. The person that started on day 1 to the person that came out at the end 8 weeks later, it was a completely different person. And I came out feeling like I could go into any job interview and really feel like maybe I didn't know how to use a certain software that they used, but I had enough skills and enough knowledge of instructional design and good e-learning development that I could do it. I felt like I could speak to it. I felt like I could teach other people how to do it. That's how confident I felt coming out. And I never thought I would get there. I just thought I'd go in and hopefully build a pretty good piece that I could use for my portfolio, but I came out with so much more. I really felt like I became an instructional designer at the end of it.